FiboSwanny, Chris Franks with TexasWest Capital. I got the boys in the side wings over there just waiting, chomping at the bit, ready to jump in here and talk today about some Bitcoin. And Lord knows, I don't know, Andrew's feeling a little jumpy today, a little froggy. He might throw in some kind of crazy information. I don't know. We'll see how this goes. This is not entertainment tonight, but we'll see. Anyway, hey, we've got we're going to talk about things like the whales buying up from the 78 low and what that generally tends to mean. We're going to talk about GME. If you guys haven't heard, well, you'll hear about it now. Other things, as always, be sure you hit the thumbs up, the likes, the follow, all those great things, and follow these gentlemen here on Twitter, guys, at AP_abacus. That's Andrews, and then Tillman's is Texas OL61. Of course, you can follow me at TXWest Capital. So let me go up and bring these guys up. How are y'all doing today?
I'm great.
We're doing better than BitBoy today. Is what
we're
doing better than BitBoy today, right?
Yeah.
There ain't nothing to put a stake in the ground in terms of life than a mugshot, right? I mean that's a moment that you either decide to find your nearest X ramp and find a new path in life, or you continue going 85 miles down the road. I don't know. It's a tough moment,
Well, it's not, it's not his first time. He's been
not his first rodeo. I mean, this is really kind of what got him to be famous, was his bombastic approach to life.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy. I don't know. I'm too old for all that drama, honestly, guys. I'm good with that. I got a weather drama over here. Did you guys hear so last year, we had the hurricane that hit here, and then we had the floods, all like right in this area, right where I'm at. Just last week, I guess it was last week, we had freaking wildfire right down the road.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, in the Rayburn forest over there, and I'm just like,
oh, when you live in Egypt,
so dry and the wind was so bad, I was really concerned there for a bit.
Were there any issues with your pool and your gardens that you have there on the grounds there at TexasWest Capital, or were there any issues?
Speaking of which, I had to get the pump for the pool fixed. Yes, I did.
Well, you usually have in the background of the show, you got the lawn guys going. So, I know there's a palatial gardens there at Texas Capital. You know what I mean?
Well, they're not here at the moment. Thankfully, it's looking like it's going to rain out there, so maybe they won't show up. But the roofers were over there at somebody else's house, and I was like, "What the heck's all this banging going on?" And look out there. And they're all up there replacing the roof. I'm like, hard workers, though. Hard workers. They were up there early this morning. But anyway, so now we can talk about important stuff.
Mind of Pepe. That's the important stuff. That's the number one trending meme coin is the real-time crypto intelligence with autonomous AI. Mind of Pepe. So they go not an endorsement for sure.
Yeah. Oh man, I don't know.
Isn't it amazing though that these projects just keep coming? I mean, it's like they don't get a hint. The meme market is completely dead. And yet there's just people out there launching token after token. I mean, millions and millions of tokens.
Absolutely crazy. I mean, and obviously if there wasn't money to be made for rugs to be pulled, they wouldn't be doing it, right? I always tell people, listen, if you don't want the stupidity to happen, stop feeding into the stupidity. If you don't want to keep getting the text on your phone that say, hey, you need to pay this toll or else we're going to revoke your license or whatever. By the way, here, click on the link, close out of the thing, open it back up. I'm like, it's just so crazy. But as long as people continue doing it or giving their money to the Nigerian prince who wants to give them all the money in email.
You know what's strange? How did Tillman get a picture of your house, Chris, on his screen? How did he pull that off?
I got to be honest with you.
Google
it's too corny for me. I'm not a corny house person.
It's even got the gardens in the background there. A little wine vineyard. I know that you've got at the.
He asked me to crop the guillotine out of the photo. I don't know why he didn't want that public publicity.
Well, that's
for the guillotine exists in case the XRP mob storms his. Castle, he's ready.
Hey, actually, I'm not the one worried. Y'all are the ones that keep talking smack about XRP. When you guys do, I usually get a few comments on there like,
I didn't talk smack.
man,
I
why
just
do you
asked a
guys hate it
simple
so much?
question: what can it do better than any stable coin out there? USDC, UST, DT. What purpose is there anymore? Their use case is dead. Sorry. All right. Off to this real topic on hand. Did you guys see how BlackRock's Ethereum fund tripled since this Bitcoin lull has happened? So I just thought that was kind of interesting because, in previous cycles, we saw assets, the values kind of cycle through each coin. Like it would go from Bitcoin to Ethereum to all of the other coins. And now it's happening on the ETF side of the equation. So yeah, it's we are officially on Wall Street. The cycles have been mirrored.
Yeah, and so the crazy thing is we had I can't remember his name right now. He was which one of those like Coin Glass or something is that he's the big head in there. But he said all the indicators were pointing that the top was in for Bitcoin. Oh, what was his name? Did you guys see that?
I didn't see that.
TexasWest Capital? Is that what you're talking about?
Somebody else here in the audience may know what I'm talking about.
FiboSwanny, was he the guy that made that prediction?
Well, it was crazy. He's the head of the company there or whatever, and he was like, yeah, all the on-chain metrics say that the top is in for Bitcoin, which was just kind of really a crazy tweet, I thought, because I don't see anything saying that the top's in at this time, but that's what he said. So.
Well, I mean, he probably said it because it was a crazy headline that got us to talk about it. I mean, unless you back it up with any significant metrics, I don't understand what.
Well, he was using their all the on-chain metrics, the things we usually
on-chain
look for.
hash rates at its all-time highest it's ever been.
See, and that's the thing, the hash ribbons. Anybody that's used hash ribbons knows when it goes, when it's pulling back there and you get the different color bulbs and then you get the green one. That precedes, the next move up, and we just got that on the Bitcoin chart.
So my thesis is much simpler. You just whether it's BlackRock's Ethereum ETF has gained significant traction. Their IBIT product continues to bring in inflows 6 days in a row. Their BITL portfolio has more than doubled in overall AUM. To more than $1 billion. And Larry has sent out an invitation for Citadel to join the party now. Time frames are time frames. Over the next month, who knows what happens. But
and then throw on top of that money supply, global money supply, just going parabolic.
Over the next 6 to 18 months, you cannot fade those two guys.
Go ahead and say it, Andrew. Go ahead and say it. Go ahead and say it.
You can't fade the Fink. You can't fade the Fink. You can't fade it, right? So
you can try.
Yeah. So Ken Griffin, Citadel, and Larry Fink. I watched I pulled up the movie Dumb Money again, and everybody should watch that movie, man. Those guys. They don't get into a market to lose money, period. Yeah. And even if it goes against them, it's not fun to talk about, but they'll even rig the game a little bit to make sure that they make money, right? Like the whole GameStop thing with Robinhood and Citadel and all that stuff, flat out rigged the game. And guess what happened to them 6 to 12 months later? Nothing. The SEC, the investigation went nowhere. There were no charges whatsoever. Nothing happened. It just got dismissed, forgotten, and they made a movie about it, right? So Citadel and BlackRock, Citadel could get in this business and say, well, no matter what, volatility works for us. But huge volatility to the downside only works for them one time. If nobody's interested in the asset class after that, that doesn't work for them, right? Yep. Larry Fink is talking his book. His best ETF launch ever is IBIT, Bitcoin. He never stops talking about it. So if you're Citadel and BlackRock, you're thinking, we're 5 to 10x from here on these assets, and we're going to make a buttload of money. All right.
Yeah.
So that's I don't need any other thesis. I don't need any other thesis whatsoever to think over the next 6, 12, 18 months that we're significantly higher than we are today.
Yeah, you just follow the leaders of the industry. These are captains of industry. They control the largest checkbooks. They have all the liquidity, and they, like Andrew's saying, I like to boil it down to simple, kind of easy to understand analogies. You don't get whales to show up at your poker table unless they know there's a lot of money to be played for. They don't show up unless they already confirmed it.
Yeah.
What I find compelling about that Dumb Money movie is not the overarching theme. What I find funny is when, you know, the Melvin Capital guy needs cash infusions, and both Steve Cohen, who's running the Mets now, bought the Mets and was 0.72 at the time, and Ken Griffin knew that he would have to call them for money, and they treated it kind of like a joke and a bit of a game. And he needed $2, $3, $4 billion at the time. And so he would call Steve first, and he's like, well, have you called Ken first? Yeah. He's like, no, I haven't called Ken. He's like, all right, then I'm in for $2 billion. Get the other $1 billion from Ken. And then under his breath, he'd call Ken a prick, right? Yeah. Because they hated each other. For whatever reason, they hate each other, only because they wanted to be first with money and first with moves and known for first with moves.
Yeah.
So that's how things happen at that level. So if you think that they're here now simply to just make a little bit of money or lose a little bit of money, you're crazy. You're absolutely crazy. Now, whether or not that works with the ethos of Bitcoin and the, cypherpunks and all that stuff, forget about all that.
It doesn't work with the ethos of Bitcoin.
Forget about all that.
Right, but they're about to build a Las Vegas type atmosphere in the desert where there is no structure. There is going to be tremendous structure.
Yeah. And so, with that kind of in mind, we got GME, which had their earnings call yesterday. By the way, gapped up about 13.5% this morning. I think they were almost up 10% in after hours as it was like in the first 5 or 10 minutes of that phone call. And then up like 17% for a high today so far off yesterday. But for those that have been hiding under a rock, maybe haven't been paying attention, they had their earnings call, made a little money, doing little things. But the big thing that seems to have gotten everybody interested is they said, hey, listen, the board fully agreed. Everybody agreed. Everybody said we should do it to buy Bitcoin. Because, they got that little bit of change sitting around that, $4.7 billion. And they said, hey, listen, we should buy Bitcoin or we will allow, I think it's a good idea if we were to buy Bitcoin for the treasury. Now, before everybody gets all excited, they are not blowing $4.7 billion tomorrow on Bitcoin. Okay. Obviously they said they're going to use the money for some other things as well. But the way I look at it, there's two things that I found interesting from this. One is most of the companies, pretty much all of them that have been doing this, kind of following this Sailor playbook, have been tech or Bitcoin related kind of companies, right? This is a big pocketbook here of somebody who's not actually a tech company. And I think that's the first interesting thing.
I don't think I would make the argument that Saylor got into it. I've heard enough of his history to know that he got into it because his legacy business was dying. So I think the thread of commonality is not what sector you're in. The thread of commonality of companies that are going to jump into this boat are you sitting on a lot of cash from a legacy business that's failing now? And if that is what you're sitting on, then Bitcoin is the answer, in my opinion. And if you follow the MicroStrategy playbook, the Bitcoin standard, and Bitcoin continues to perform, and you have $4.5 billion to place. I don't know what percentage.
4.7. Don't
4.7. Yeah.
Don't cheapen it.
Well, they 4.7, 4.5. It's rounding errors at that point. Yeah. What's 200 million between friends? No, but what is really the amount that they're going to spend? And to Fib's point, like Blockbuster would be a perfect one. I personally think some of the legacy media companies are ripe for this.
Yeah.
You're looking at YouTube. I bet you they're sitting on a lot of cash. And I know that there are better ways to monetize content that are coming out that are carving into their market share. And so, those types of companies, if you're losing market share and you're sitting on too much cash to invest, bing, ding, 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 you're a Bitcoin candidate.
Well, it's funny you said that. There was I came across an article. I don't have it linked here at the moment, so I can't tell who it is. But there was a guy. Oh gosh, I wish I could remember who it was. But he was kind of making a joke about the GME thing, exactly for what you were saying. They're like, yeah, all the people that are going to get into this Bitcoin thing now are failing companies.
Well,
And that isn't a good thing and whatever. But it does give them a shift.
well, I want you to think about it in a different term. Think about it like this. Right now, GameStop's retail business cannot support the overhead costs and the real estate costs that, the total cost to deliver those services, because things are online now. That's an evolution that we knew was taking place. Like, why do I want to drive to a GameStop store when I can have Amazon deliver it to me this afternoon at my house? And stay at my house playing video games. Like, there's a real reason why that business is failing. It's not just because customer service was bad. And so now what I would argue that they're doing is that they're taking the stored value of the success of their legacy, and they're acquiring a large chunk of a network that has a lot of expansion potential and a tremendous amount of value. And so them buying Bitcoin, they're buying a piece of that network, right? And that is what they own going forward. Well, if that network grows at a faster pace than the legacy business grows, who cares? Your stock's going to go up. You're making shareholder value appear based upon where your capital is placed.
Well, and I think probably one of the really important things I think that most people kind of miss on this, with this idea of, we're arguing over, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing or who's going to get in, is this fact that, hey, listen, if they're taking it seriously and their intent really is to hold it for a while, what this does is this removes available supply. And so as long as demand, and it's not just a supply thing. I know a lot of people, when I first came in here, 2017, it was all about, supply is limited. So that's why the price is going to go up. Well, no, you can cut your toenails, right? You can only cut so much of your toenails at a time. It's limited supply. Nobody's going to be out there buying them. Well, there are probably a few people, but anyway. But realistically, you have to have the demand, right? But if you've got these large bits of money out there willing to buy Bitcoin, put it in their treasury, and with the intent of holding it for years, effectively, you're taking off decent bits of supply out of the market. And as long as demand remains equal or higher together, the price has to go up.
Well, demand is always going to remain higher because of population growth. By definition, even if we get fully saturated, let's just say every human being has heard the Bitcoin message, has used Bitcoin, and has either integrated into Bitcoin into their lifestyle or not, had made a clear decision. Well, guess what? There's a new generation that gets born, and the new generation gets born, and they're more apt to digital currencies than the previous generation. They're going to see Bitcoin as the legacy system. Think about that. Like, whereas our everybody that's alive now, and they don't look at Bitcoin like that. They look at it as the disruptor in the room. It's not going to be the disruptor 20 years, 30, 40 years from now. It's going to be the system that all the 20 to 40-year-olds grew up hearing about, its legacy and how it's been perfect for the last 45 years or whatever the new metric is,
Well, Andrew remembers the Confederacy dollars back in the day. So, he's seen multiple changes through the system.
He got put on a couple of Confederate dollars. I think I've seen his face.
That's right.
Memorialized.
As a proud card carrying member of the KOL group, I'm happy to be on money that matters. Hard money. That's hard money here in the bluegrass. The whole GameStop thing is interesting because it's not going to stop. That is going to be something that continues to happen. There's a reason why Bitwise created, an entire ETF around companies that own a meaningful amount of Bitcoin on their and put it on their balance sheet.
The Bitcoin Standard ETF.
Yeah, that fund is only going to grow, and in fact, they have put an entire event together in New York City in mid to late April that I think Tillman and I are going to go to. And so you don't do all that if you don't have a pretty good idea that particular fund may go well and probably is going to grow. So there's more. I put out a tweet a day ago or a couple of days ago that there's going to be another announcement of meaningful scale beyond GameStop here over the next couple of months. Whether or not it moves the needle is who knows? We'll see. But it's again, Bitwise rightly proclaimed it's not just a trend, it's a mega trend, and that's going to happen. And again, the benefits associated with doing it are twofold. One, you fend off short sellers because they have a difficult time finding a way to short something that's got an asset like Bitcoin on the balance sheet. Yeah. And then secondarily, you change the narrative associated with your overall brand, and it's almost a relaunch, right? It's a relaunch to a different subsection of potential customers like Gen Z and millennials and whatever the Gen is underneath Z. I don't even know why. Gen double Z or something. I don't know what it is.
I think it's Gen Alpha.
Yeah. So it changes the narrative. So there's a narrative change, and then at the same time, you're also fending off, evildoers, so to speak, like short sellers having to do with your stock price.
Well, at least Hindenburg's out of here, right? So
yeah.
Speaking of evil short sellers,
no, Hindenburg is not out here anymore. They're gone. They just
that's what I said. At least they're out of here now. They're
gone. That's typical of the life cycle of short sellers overall. I mean, the United States-based markets have been effectively on a bull run since, let's call it, the 50s. And there's been, the 70s were not all that fun, but at the same time, if you're looking at multiple decades, that was a pretty unique buying opportunity. There was a hiccup at 87, another lull in 1994, another hiccup in 01, and another hiccup in 08, 09. And here we are, right? I remember when Harry Dent was selling books talking about Dow 20,000, and people thought he was insane, right? We're now at Dow 40, whatever.
Yeah, we're looking for 50, yeah.
Yeah, right.
So shorting is mathematically also a huge disadvantage, and a lot of people don't think about stuff like this. So I do. So let me share. When you short something,
hold on. Let me grab my tinfoil hat. Hold on.
Shut up.
I'm ready.
This is about whole life insurance policy.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm really excited now. I'm really excited.
Yeah. When you short something, your highest potential is it going to zero. It can't go beyond zero. Right. So you have a maximum amount of money, a cap on the amount of money you can make on a short. Yep. You have, if the price goes against you, you have an unlimited liability cap. It can go to infinity, and because you're short, your exposure is infinity. So you have limited amount of money you can make and unlimited amount of money you can lose, versus going long on a stock where you have limited amount of money you can lose. It can only go to zero if you own it, and unlimited amount of money you can make. You're trading things that are so bad for you compared to what you had before in a long position. It's like you just have to recognize it as short-term gambling, and that you can make money doing it. And there are short-term, mid-term trends that you can ride. But to Andrew's point, the long-term trend, as long as people keep inflating currency, is up.
Right, and let me just make a clarification real quick with what he said there. Mm-hmm. If you're investing in paper, as we saw just a few years ago, it can actually go below zero.
It can if you're investing in fiat. Yes.
Well, I'm talking about the oil contracts. where they close down like 40 below.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't usually happen, but
commodities it can. Yeah.
But we are talking about stocks here, folks. That's what we're talking about. So,
that was a reasonable point. So I turned my hat back around
you better.
But by the way, I'd like to mention that there was a moment yesterday. Tillman had since got a haircut and a little bit of tightened things up a little bit. He's got a little. Here's a little extra pinch of handsomeness to him today. I wanted to make that statement. He's looking really good. Yesterday,
you could say it in a lot better way than that. Those were poor choices of words. That made me feel icky inside. You could have just said like, "Hey, you clean up well. Good job for the haircut." But you just made it sound real bad. Handsomeness. Never point that word at me. Okay.
Yeah, it's when he lets the chia pet hair grow a little, move beyond about a half an inch. It's not a good look. Not a good look. He got on the camera for the first time yesterday. I said, "Holy smokes, let's do something about that."
Are you discriminating against me for having male pattern baldness? This is obscene. This is beard. Like the guy from Coinbase said, we can celebrate our manliness with our beards.
That's right.
We had a call with Coinbase yesterday, and there was a lot of beard, comedy and commentary.
Yeah, there was.
And it ended. In fact,
we told him about the show. He said, "How could I have missed this? This is in my lane. I'm gonna go find it right now."
Well, the commentary ended with this, which says, "If your dad doesn't have a beard, you have two moms." So we all laughed and giggled, and we moved on to the
only problem is this guy had a perfect hairline, and the fullest, most perfect hairline. It was very jealousy inducing. But thank you, Andrew. I appreciate the backhanded weird compliment that you gave me.
No worries whatsoever.
Now back to Bitcoin.
Chris, have I told you that your beard is looking beautiful today?
Man, you know what? You could just tell. You could talk to Andrew about it, and not about my beard, but about his beard. Don't be talking about my beard. That just gets weird.
Listen, the difference between 24 hours ago and now, it's just stark, and it needed to be discussed. It needed to be discussed. Maybe what I'll do. I didn't take a screenshot at the before and after, or else I'd put it in like the replies to this show, on your X account.
Listen, when I get like that, it just means I've been in the lab for a while. I'm focused. I'm in here cranking.
He's helping the company make money.
That's exactly right. I'm building stuff. Well, builders don't care how they look; they just get up and build, and that's what they do, man.
Oh man! So let's talk about this, guys. So I kind of mentioned at the beginning of the show about the Bitcoin whales being back, and so Santiment, for anybody that follows them, they are on X and everything as well. But they were saying, that Bitcoin whales have been steadily accumulating since prices fell to around 78,000 in mid-March. And then it goes on to say that, renewed interest from those high net worth addresses could signal a shift in sentiment. According to Santiment, there's a noticeable rise in the number of addresses holding between 100 and 10,000 Bitcoin. That's a big 100 to 10,000. That's a big range. Historically, whenever the number of coins under these holders rises, it precedes a bull run as heavyweights resume their purchases. And this seems kind of like peak, kind of like, oh my gosh, Dread, it's going to keep going lower. We had Arthur out there saying, oh, it's still going to go lower. It's still going to go lower. But then you just saw him the other day. You might have seen the mention. He said, oh, I bet it goes up to 110 before going down to 70,000. Did you guys catch that?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Like, I'm just hearing you say that. It makes me incredibly encouraged. We think the low end of a whale is $8 million plus of crypto. That's more than a whale to me. I mean, that's a big number.
Whales are big.
Well, I know they are, but I mean, I consider anybody that's holding on to $1 million in crypto to be a whale. I think
Yeah.
most people would consider that. So I think the fact that you're measuring from 100 plus to
Yeah.
1,000, I mean, that's companies, that's corporations, that's very uber high net worth individuals. Think about the type of person and how much net worth they have to have $9 million or 10 million in crypto, other than the original people that got into Bitcoin. It's very few. If you're buying in for 10 million in Bitcoin right now, that means you've probably got 150 million liquid minimum.
Yeah.
That's a those are sizable entities that are casting their vote and saying we want to be a part of this network. That's incredibly bullish to me, and it points to the fact that we've been saying this kind of since the beginning of this cycle, that this cycle was going to be driven by institutions, not by retail. And I think
Yeah.
that's what we're seeing right now. And the only people that are bored with the price of Bitcoin is retail.
Yeah.
That's it. You talk to any institutional people, and they're going, "Yeah, it's holding strong. It's at great buying levels. I'm accumulating. I've got some more, orders in for a little bit lower. I'm hoping it gets down to the." They're not going, "Oh, this thing is a dog. I'm changing my mind." It's just not
To the new
happening.
Pepe coin.
To the mind Pepe coin.
Yeah, but I think no, I'm glad you brought that up, man, because that is, a significant idea. People look at there and go, oh, at first thought, without really thinking about this, say, oh, wallets with 100 to 10,000. Well, those are just people that that were early, right? And they're going, it's just going up because it's going in value. But again, the what he's actually saying here is more wallets are, there's new coming in, which is the point you were pointing out there. And so when you're looking at that kind of 100 150 million liquid to get in there, where you're pulling in 10 million or more, I mean that becomes a significant thing. When we look at this, we go, okay, well, how many of these are we going to see in the next disclosure?
Exactly. If this is a trend, what is that? Well, and you know what, it begs the question. Fibonacci not Fibonacci. There's a guy that I follow that's really big into the power laws, and everybody loves him and says he's got the greatest
Giovanni,
model.
is it Giovanni?
Giovanni, that's who it is. That's exactly who it is. So Giovanni has the power law that he uses, that he claims is the greatest in terms of variance off of the mean, is the $1,000 or more wallet adoption rate coupled with price. So how many wallets have $1,000 or more? Well, if you're seeing an increase in wallets that are holding $10 million or more, that's going to be a much better indicator, and could be the new indicator that gets attached to the price that actually takes us into a new power law. And that power law would have a steeper curve because there's a larger number of dollars being placed against the same fixed supply. That's very, very encouraging, to say the least.
What I love to see is Tillman's his change over the last what have been 40 episodes. Because if y'all have been here from the beginning, you'll remember Tillman was very much, we're not going to go big and high here, diminishing returns, and I don't think it's going to do that. But Tillman, being the man of the market he is, says, listen. Now he's saying, listen, I think I may have been wrong, and that's important, right?
Well, it's not. Here's the thing: Wall Street has to adopt. When I said that, I was saying that based upon a central bet that I was making, that Wall Street wouldn't going to adopt with open arms, because they never do, and that was the safest bet to make at the time. But Wall Street has not only gone. I mean, I have videos. I can show you videos where Larry Fink's going, my customers do not have any demand for Bitcoin. We will not add it. It's not important to us. And then a year later, he's out there going, Bitcoin, if you want to hedge against global inflation rates, Bitcoin is the only instrument that you should choose. That is a radical shift that, if you don't pay attention to and aren't shifting with, you're just stuck in the past, right? Because, like Andrew said, you don't fade the Fink. He is a force of nature. He is BlackRock. That is, you buy the cars that are at the dealership. You don't decide what cars are at the dealership. He decides what cars are at the dealership. You decide which model you want to buy. He decides how much you will pay for those models. Like, they're market makers, right? And they are the people that can come in and change this. The reality of it is that what I was saying also is somewhat true still. And here's what I mean by that. If retail controlled the cycle, oh my gosh, you're gonna make me puke. If retail controlled the cycle, the volatility would be greater than if Wall Street controls the cycle. And so Wall Street's controlling the cycle now. So I would anticipate a fall off in volatility, even though we could see a massive gamma squeeze, like a $500,000 price tag over the next 4 years.
Yeah, and I don't let us interrupt your lunch there, Andrew.
It was just delivered here, so I'm starving. You know what I mean?
So the house is yours. Fibo was saying that the house in the factory was actually yours. And
it is. There's people that deliver things to me. They come and go. I think there's a Roomba in the background running right now. So yeah, all sorts of things happening at the parish abode.
Oh man. Well, anyway, but yeah. But the thing I wanted to say though about that, Tillman, was it's so important because new traders, new investors come in, and they get all upset if somebody changes their opinion. Right? If somebody says, "Hey, new information's in. What I was thinking may not be what's going on here. I need to change my opinion." I mean, that's what we do. That's what we do. We pivot as traders and investors, and that's a really important thing for people.
Well, I hate runes, right? I hate them. I don't think you should etch anything into immortality on the Bitcoin blockchain. I hate that idea. But if the government tomorrow came out and said, you know what, we're going to etch the Constitution onto the blockchain using this, and we're going to etch all of the critical documents and libraries of Congress that that's a great use case. Yeah, go etch away, put it into, etch our existence as America into a permanent form that can be revived with any computer that ever wants to be plugged in and revive it. That's a great concept. And I would change my opinion about runes, but the way that they launched this last go around, they're for the birds. So yes, I leave room for technology to evolve and for new use cases to be applied.
Well, hey, man, you guys know I'm writing a book. I'm just about finished with it. That thriller novel, that centers around Bitcoin. I think you just gave me a great idea for the next book.
Good. We'll write a character in there that's incredibly handsome with a beard and a bald head named Philman, and I'll be able to identify that part of the book as my contribution.
Well, I was just thinking, you're talking about, etching it into the blockchain. And so maybe society collapsed hundreds of years later. They come back on, they go, oh my God, this is a great way to do the world, whatever. There's the book, man. There's the book.
Well, theoretically,
you can be the main character. You can be the protagonist.
Well, I've thought about, like, if you're going to secure, the best part about Bitcoin to me is that it is truly decentralized, to the fact that if an EMP wipes out every piece of tech on the earth, somebody creates a new computer and they get on the network, which they can, it's up and running again. Like, it can't be killed. It can always be resuscitated and revived. So if you do want to leave, like, what's a better way than carving it inside of pyramid walls and caves to try to tell people what we did 1,000 years ago? What's a better way? A blockchain where we have an infinite volume that we can apply to the next civilization, and they can literally start, instead of from scratch, start where we left off. I mean, that would be in the event that there is a tinfoil hat, wipeout event.
He looks like the meme where you get the guy.
Listen,
hey, what's up?
I want to be in your novel. I'm going to be the guy that's shirtless, swimming to the bottom of the ocean without any assistance to get the archive.
This isn't Waterworld. This isn't Waterworld.
Hey, fellow kids, how you doing today?
I'll tell you what, nobody can come to the show and say, listen, you're not being entertained, you're not having fun, you know? And I think that's right. One of the best
Show
things
up now
about
because this is the most I laugh in any given week. So
yeah, you get kind of red in the face, so you got to remember to
I got
breathe a little
sunburned
bit.
yesterday. Thanks for pointing it out. And when I laugh, it exacerbates it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, you can blame it on Andrew. He's the comedian today.
Yeah, he is. Listen. I'm not hating on him. He's been bringing the heat. I'm over here laughing. It's good. Get up on stage. Yeah,
Life's too short, right?
We're gonna turn the last 5 minutes of this into a stand-up routine. That Andrew's gonna take center stage, and we'll see if he can really pull it off. Kill
Ain't none of us
Tony
standing.
2.0. Okay, this is Beards and Bitcoin. Kill Tony. Help us.
Oh, and he showed the watch notice too. You know? By the way, look at my watch. Remember last week?
I love the guys who shoot the deuces in all the pictures with their watch.
But so listen, we're coming at the end of March. April's coming up. Bitcoin conference coming up end of May. What do you guys think happens here? You know, maybe big news direction wise between now and the Bitcoin conference. You guys got any thoughts?
I'm expecting at the Bitcoin conference for this to be the first, really the first conference that's ever taken place. And what I mean by that is you've seen up until Bitcoin Nashville, the conferences were nothing but degen Bitcoiners like us, like just normal people coming to the mecca of Bitcoin so that we can all pat each other on the back and say, we're going to the moon. Really no outside forces have paid attention to it because it didn't matter up until Nashville. When Trump showed up and now Trump's in office, I would anticipate that the panel of speakers changes considerably to all the other conferences and includes a lot of real world power brokers like politicians and cabinet members.
Loomis is going to be there, right?
Yeah, you're going to have Trump family members that end up speaking at this one. Trump will probably do another address. I doubt he comes in person to Vegas, but he'll do something
over the video. Yeah,
over video. There'll be more. The fact that it's in Vegas will even attract more attention.
You think Sachs will be there or somebody like that? Yeah, those people are going to come.
There will, there'll probably more than 50,000 attendees would be my guess this time around, again, because of the location and the venue and then the visibility of it all. It'll probably be the biggest one yet.
It can accommodate. It's interesting. Yeah, we will. It's interesting that's in Vegas too, because they can accommodate security protocols that are warranted for the types of people that are coming to these events now.
And let me remind y'all guys, these guys here, their company Arch Public's out there sponsoring the Bitcoin conference, and they're giving away industry passes. So tell them again here before we get off here today. Make sure you let them know. We'll do this a few times up leading up to the show so people know about it.
Yeah, if you sign up for our free Bitcoin algorithm and you follow us at Arch Public, you're going to be put in our giveaway over the next 2 weeks to give away 2 industry passes. And you'll also be invited to our VIP dinner that we're going to have there in Vegas. Generally speaking, at our VIP dinner, we have a bunch of our concierge program members that attend that, as well as somebody like Scott Melker, or if we can pull it off, somebody like TexasWest Capital. And
we're in negotiations right now. He's playing hardball. It's really bad.
We are. But if
told us he'll come if we'll shave our beards. That's just a weird request.
Very weird request. But if you do those 2 things, if you sign up, again, it's a free product, and you follow our X account, you'll be in the drawing and you'll get 2 passes. It's better than 1 pass. So 1 pass, you want to go to the Bitcoin conference by yourself? That's kind of lame. So 2 passes is, you win and you can bring a +1.
But we come hopped up on Bitcoin adrenaline. It's a fun time. We'll be.
It really is. It really is. You may even be invited to an additional little get together we do there. We haven't decided on what that activity is yet, but
last year it was a hand-to-hand combat event that like an
Yeah.
octagon fighting event for Bitcoiners. Do you have an option for us ugly Canadians? Oh, you guys are not ugly. I was up there a couple months ago staying with a hockey family, and dadgum, he was the most handsome guy I've seen in a while. I was telling my wife, we need to get out of here. I'm feeling inferior. Yeah, we do have options for you guys up there in Canada. There's a couple of options right now that are a little more clunky. We have some eloquent options that are going to be coming out here in the near future. So just reach out to us, schedule a time to talk to us, and we'll get you set up.
Yeah. So when he says reach out to him, guys, I'm sure he means just there on Twitter.
Yeah, or go to our website, archpublic.com,
okay.
and you can schedule a demo call where we jump on the Zoom call with you.
Yeah. So there you go, guys. So that way you can check that out as well. You know, there's a reason I do this show with these guys, and it's not because they're bald with beards. All right.
That's just the benefits. That's icing on the cake.
You do it because we're just remarkably handsome, and there's just an aura, right? There's just an aura that emits from us, and you're like, I'm drawn to these guys. I'm not sure what it is yet, but I am drawn to them. Right? That's what it is. And if you deny that, I know that you're lying. I know that you're lying. So
your face
you just know it, right?
Now, Chris. Your face is getting a little red. I just have to say the shade is changing.
Just admit it. Yeah. Just admit it. It's okay. It's okay. Embrace brotherhood, my friend. Embrace brotherhood. Embrace brotherhood. Right?
Hey, you done?
No.
Are you done?
Not at all. No way. Never. Never done. I may be finished, but I'm never done. Okay. The whole I may be finished, but I'm never done. That's an old homeschool reference to, Tillman's childhood, right? That's a grammar thing, right?
Well, it looks like you finally got him to tear up a little bit laughing so much. So I think
I was watching a movie on the side. I wasn't listening to you guys. Let's keep this trading moving. Andrew's not that funny.
You know better. Listen, I can put you know what in a box and guarantee it. I've got extra time,
I was just checking the specs on the Gertery rotor.
I'm an idiot.
Oh, Lord have mercy. All right. Well, I know you guys said you had to go a little early. Because you said you've got
right? Puts it away.
Hey, who said Bitcoin's boring? When the price is in a lull, we'll bring the comedy. We'll just turn it into a comedy hour.
That's what you got to do. Otherwise, it just becomes stale information, and nobody likes that, right?
Yeah. Hopefully, this little entertainment will keep us all from making stupid trades the rest of the day.
Well, we can't guarantee that, but Hey, listen, man, I know you guys got to go. It's getting about time for your meeting that you guys have. So I appreciate you guys jumping as always. Hey, follow these guys on Twitter. Again, AP_Abacus and Texas OL61, and of course, TXWest Capital, me. Check out their company site there at archpublic.com. Download the Bitcoin algo. I gotta say it, but anyway, the Bitcoin algo. Jump on that, guys, and then follow Try Archpublic there on Twitter, and that way you maybe have a chance to win those industry passes there. Those are very expensive passes, guys, and they give you access to all 3 days. So definitely check it out. As always, we love having you guys following in. Leave any comments or questions or anything you have, anything you want us to talk about on the next show. Leave that in the comments. We'd love to hear that. We want to make this interesting for you, other than just the self-deprecating comedy and whatnot. But other than that, as always, remember the only thing you control is how much you lose. So please keep working on that risk management. Y'all have a great day, a great week. Trade safe, invest safe, stack Bitcoin, and we'll see you next Wednesday, all right?
You're not going to end with the only thing you can control is how much you lose, or did you
already said it?
Okay, all right.
You already said it.
There was the other one.
What I have to deal with on a daily basis. You see what I have to deal with?
All right, you guys have fun. Take care. Hey, we'll see y'all next week. All right.
Yeah. Bye.